Not in my backyard, that's how most Territorians feel about mining. But just how many rights do residents have to stop a mine from going ahead on their land? It's an area the government says is about to get a whole lot clearer when the introduction of new legislation. Lucy McNally reports.
GP Michael Fonda has lived on his 150-hectare property on the outskirts of Adelaide River for 6 years. The Outback Sanctuary is ideal for bushwalking and birdwatching, and Dr Fonda believes it's worthy of protection.
There's some endangered and threatened and rare animals and plant species, such as the Gordian finch that have been seen here, a rare lily called the Typhonium russell-smithii, narbarlek, wallabies in the mountains around here.
In 2009, Dr Fonda learnt that a Territory company wanted to explore for uranium in his area, known as Silkwood. He and his neighbours weren't happy and decided to apply to the Department of Resources for their land to be made subject to what's called a reservation order to protect it from mining.
When you buy a freehold block, the Crown retains ownership of the minerals, and so essentially what these landowners are doing is asking the Territory to forego its ownership rights of those minerals. The mining industry will tell you one of the most important, or the most important issue for them is access for exploration to find out what's there.
The application for a reservation order, or RO as they're known in the mining business, was supported by 34 of the 38 landholders at Silkwood.
I found that was an incredible statistic, being nearly 90% of the people, and only 4 people didn't sign up to this. And of those 34 people, about a dozen people were or are in the mining industry.
If they're successful, it will be the first time ordinary landowners have won an RO. Most sites have been gazetted for government planning purposes, like the rail corridor between Alice Springs and Darwin. Waddell, the new city planned to be built south of Palmerston, is another example.
The majority of reservations of occupation ROs in the Territory put down with respect to land in a town, and essentially it stops a miner from being able to make an application for a mining lease in your backyard. You can use them on other occasions. The most prominent recent example was the Angela and Pamela uranium deposit in Alice Springs, was the subject of an RO for many years.
An RO over the Angela Pamela site, 23 kilometres south of Alice Springs, was gazetted by the government in 1990. That wasn't to preserve the environment, but to lock up the rich deposit of uranium there till the market improved. The market did pick up a couple of years ago, but exploration activity then sparked angry protests in Alice Springs.
It's an unprecedented case, Angela Pamela. You've never seen it in Australia before, where a mining company goes in and explores country so close to an established town. The other mining communities are established for that mine.
Isabel Kirkbride is one of 300 people lobbying against the Angela Pamela mine. She's concerned about environmental impacts.
It's right on top of the Alice Springs town water basin, so it's a huge risk to our water resource, which keeps us alive here in the desert.
The Henderson government recognised those concerns last year when it ruled out a uranium mine at Angela Pamela.
Tourists don't want to come here to see a uranium mine.
Now, environmentalists want the government to issue a completely different sort of reservation order.
We'd be asking for the area of Angela Pamela to be protected under the Special Reserve Land Section 112 of the Mineral Titles Act. Part of that is actually relinquishing the exploration licence.
Jimmy Cocking is referring to the new Mineral Titles Act, introduced last year. That created 2 categories of reserved land, one which allows exploration with restrictions, and another, known as Special Reserved, that rules out any activity.
The special reserve land is essentially land where it's not possible to undertake mining unless the reservation's lifted. In general reserved land, it's possible for the Minister to determine that some mining can take place under limited conditions.
The government says the new laws will strengthen environmental protections, but even land deemed special reserved will not be untouchable. The Minister can still revoke it. Jimmy Cocking says it'll be better than the current regime because the government must consult before it revokes a special status order.
if a minister did want to revoke reserve from occupation status or special reserve land status for this area, they'd have a fight on their hands.
The government says reservation orders can also be used to protect an environmentally sensitive area, which is just what Dr Fonda considers his land near Adelaide River to be.
We've got very clean water. Just around the corner from us is the catchment for the Warrai Dam area, which is something that's been talked about for the last 30 or 40 years, which may be the next dam to supply Darwin with its water.
But after 2 years of waiting, Michael Fonda is losing hope in the process.
It makes one feel that it's not really within our grasp to get reserved land in areas such as where we are.
Lucy McNally with that story.